Good morning, welcome to James Kent Ceramic Materials, a 4-acre site situated here in the heart of the Potteries in the centre of Fenton. There has been ceramic materials produced on this site since the late 1700s. The history of the site is such that the Kent family bought this site from the Baker family in 1912, and it was initially designed as a pottery material, glaze and colour maker for his own pot bank, which is just up the road at Longton. So the site essentially started life as a pottery material supply company, and over time developed a life of its own, supplying not only his own factory but several factories in the Stoke-on-Trent area. So over the course of the time the company developed several innovative glazes and colours for various customers throughout, and was a principal supplier to both the tile, the sanitary ware and the tableware industry here in Stoke-on-Trent. This situation was in play up until about the early 80s, when the final and remaining member of the Kent family, Ruth Kent, decided to sell the business to the German chemical company Bayer. In 1982 this sale was made, and over the next 10 years Bayer invested a considerable amount of money into the business, and the diversification that came with Bayer also helped us through the particularly bad times in the early 90s. The company was run by Bayer until 1993, when once again it went back into local ownership, and the name James Kent was reinstated because it was a well-known name in the area which everybody recognised. But after that time in 1993 it became very apparent that the pottery industry was in decline, so we decided that we must diversify into several new areas in order to keep the company healthy and strong and growing. So we moved away from what you might call traditional ceramics and became more involved with the technical ceramics, everything from encapsulating nuclear waste to the flow control of steel, to the high temperature lubrication and forging fluxes. The bottle ovens you see behind me are quite a historic monument. They are listed buildings. These were last used in 1988, when at that time, or before that time, flints were brought up from the south coast and were layered in the kiln along with layers of coke and wood and so on, set alight, and quartz inversion gives a friable material that makes a nice white firing quartz for earthenware bodies. Obviously over time this practice became not only expensive but also was not very environmentally friendly, because as you can imagine with all three chimneys going, it wasn't a very pleasant environment. Plus the fact is that the sand producers managed to develop ways of bleaching sand to make these white firing bodies a hell of a lot cheaper. So one of the reasons why these bottle ovens were able to continue into the late 80s is that the type of fuel that was used was a clean firing coke, but nonetheless with the environmental concerns, legislation and tighter controls on emissions meant that even that became a problem which couldn't be resolved using this technology. It does produce very, very good white firing flint, but at a cost.